You know God has a process. If you were more focused on studying God's process and the way he does things, like how he moves and how he speaks and his patterns and his systems of doing things, you wouldn't have so much problems with the enemy, because you would know, oh, the enemy must be around, or he close, or I'm entering this season, or God expects me to sacrifice this and give it up, or I must have some type of idol. God is trying to break a bad habit, or I must be relying upon something. God is trying to break that habit. Whatever it is, you need to start studying God's systems, the way he speaks, his patterns, and how he moves, because it's true. He does not change. He does not change. I've been reading the Bible all weekend, and I've been studying multiple characters throughout the Bible, and he does not change. He does the same thing systematically, without fail, each and every time, and it is guaranteed success. Each and every time. Each and every time. Let's say, for instance, for Abraham. He told Abraham something, right? Gave him a vision, told him. He didn't even get to see all of his descendants. He didn't even get to see the glory and the magnification that God was going to give through him. Abraham, just because of his faith, right? He had the first real estate property deal that was mentioned in the Bible. He had to buy a plethora of land as well as a cave from one of the Hittites in the land that he was already occupying. So wait a minute. God made you purchase land from somewhere where it was already guaranteed and destined to be your land. Why is that? Because God does things in decency and in order. You still can be called to something and have a vision, and God can say that this is for you, but the revelation is at the end. That's the end. So you got revelation of something, but you still got to go through it. So what is my point? So I'm not rambling, right? The point is that God has a process. That means you have to have a process as well. You got to know where you got to get in where you fit in with God's process. How do I know that that's true? Because God told Abraham that all of this land that you see, once he told Lot to pick what he wanted, and Lot picked what he wanted on the part of the Jordan Valley that was close to Sodom and Gomorrah, even though it was wicked. He said, go ahead and take it. After he allowed him to take it, God said, now go out and walk along the land. Walk to the east, the north, the west, and the south. Everything that you see, everything that your feet will touch will be yours. Now, mind you, it was still people occupying that land at the time. So there was a heavenly divine calling that he owned it and that he had authority over it. But he still had to take societal and physical possession over it. So that lets me know that God will call me, give me a revelation, give me a vision, and then he will equip me and prepare me along the way. That means I have to be in partnership with God at all times to be able to get whatever it is that God says he has for me. He's not going to give me a vision or a revelation and tell me something and then think that I'm supposed to do it on my own. He expects partnership. He expects me to do my part and him to do his part. He's going to do his part without fail because he does not change. However, the longer you take to fall in line, the longer you take to believe, and the longer you take to commit to what God showed you is how long it's going to take for that thing to come to pass. So if Abraham was faithless and took his time in believing in what God had to say, it would have took him forever to occupy the land. It would have took him forever. It would have took him forever. He traveled multiple times to get where he had to go. What do I mean multiple times he traveled? What I'm saying is he took pit stops. He didn't just travel straight along the way and just travel 80 days to get where he had to go. Not saying that the Bible mentioned 80 days. I'm just throwing out a number. So please, whoever watches this video, y'all love to desecrate and decimate people just because they're speaking metaphorically or rhetorically about the word of God. It did not mention 80 days. However, it does specifically mention that he took separate trips to get where he had to go. So that means it was a process. You're not going to get there immediately. So what God shows you is not for you for right now. It's for a future date. He's also going to test you and refine you until you get to that date, until you get to that location. But if you don't understand the systems and the processes and what God does, you're not going to understand that God can reveal something to you in the spirit, but you still have to go claim it in the physical. Does that make sense?